They might be because I know it's a little earlier for them. So
Yep.
we'll see how many
Yeah,
people
it's okay.
show up,
We are live. Or well,
or will be.
oh, nice. So you have it start, but then you got 5 minutes until it actually starts.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
That's a good
Oh,
idea. Honestly, we should have a waiting time in between.
that is pretty
Yep.
cool. Because
Then,
then it can just,
it cuts to us being ready, not to us just blathering like now.
oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize it did that. Oh, well, now it's on. Like now I see video, so maybe it wasn't totally 5 minutes there, but
Really?
yeah, because I definitely see video.
We are live.
Oh, we're live. Okay, I'm gonna shut this off now that I know that we're live. And but we'll, like usual, let it sit for a couple minutes and see if
So
anybody.
where are you seeing live?
I just saw it on the
This is the live video right now.
really.
Yeah, it's a waiting room. Oh,
Huh.
and it just kicked on.
Yay.
See?
Hi, Jesse.
Oh, Justin's there. Sweet. Hi,
No,
Justin.
Jesse.
Jesse. Hi, Jesse. I'm trying to
I'm
get it
sure
up.
Justin will be on later.
Well, come on. I hate when this doesn't work on my phone like it should. Because I wanted to see if I can get the chat up, but it doesn't seem to want to work. Okay. Looks like it's got a couple people here, so hey. Oh, okay. All right. So we'll just jump right in. Um, greetings for 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 today's Sunday stream. I'm live from Utah.
From a different place? What? We're all in
No,
different time zones again, on that
yeah,
note.
we're all in different places again, but I'm out here for work, so I'm on my mobile setup. Um, but we had a really interesting eruption too in the past, what, 24 hours or so. Um,
Hmm.
two filaments that are causing quite a stir on the internet. So it it was nice because it gives us something to talk about today. So we're gonna go over what happened and what we can expect. And the modeling is still sort of coming in. We're still waiting for Space Weather Prediction Center, but we have a couple. The Huxt model and then some M2M, I think is the other one that has it out. And did you say Met Office?
Med office. Yep.
Yes.
We got
That's
three.
out
We
too.
got we got three of the four. So we will jump right in. Do we want to do the slideshow first, or Christian, do you want to show off your little Helio viewer videos of the eruption itself?
I
We
mean,
can do
that's
this
fine.
slideshow actually because there is
Okay.
a sort of space weather monitoring announcement that
Oh, we
we
have
Oh
have
yeah,
this.
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
cover.
Oh yeah,
So
Yes.
yeah.
I can share the
Yes,
slides
yes,
on this one.
that's right. This was going to be our topic for the day, and then we got,
And
and
then
then
the sun actually did something interesting.
I like that we get
So,
sidetracked now because it's been a long
yes,
time.
well, we can get sidetracked by the sun any day, but we
yes,
still
that's
have to
also
cover this one because we actually have a new satellite that is operational and causing a lot of confusion, unfortunately. So GOES 19 became operational on April 4th. It is replaced GOES 16, so it is our GOES East at this point. In that transition, the color was swapped. So GOES 18 used to be red and GOES 16 used to be blue, but now we have a different color setup. So GOES 19 is the east, and it is in the red, and GOES 18 is monitoring the west, and it's in blue. And Substorm in any of them is a substorm. Um, I personally do not pay that much attention to which satellite is showing the substorm. I correlate it with where they at in relationship to my local midnight and most importantly, their local midnight and those things are conveniently marked on the plot. So
Yep.
watch those things because they will tell you where the satellite is and whether or not they have a good shot of actually catching the substorm early because they typically happen in the pre-midnight section. So satellite before midnight. So in this case, you can see that pre-midnight was showing the substorm a lot better, and that happens to be GOES 18. Substorm is still a substorm if you are in the night and you have recent um, solar wind that's showing fairly decent negative BZ. It really doesn't matter. You're still going to see it. So just watch where things at in their orbit and what's their position in relationship to their local midnight. And that's important thing. But color is less important. They might as well be black and white, and they're still going to show you valuable information. So
Correct.
that wraps up GOES 19 update.
Yes.
Definitely the most
Oh,
surprising one to me.
yeah, it was something that kind of it made its rounds on in the Twitter world the other day, so we felt like we need to acknowledge that at least. So there we go. So now I'll pass it over to Christian if we want to go over to our Helio viewer videos because it is a pretty cool eruption.
Yay, Helio viewer. Yes, and I even got the 211 up, but there's not much going on in there. But just to watch it really quickly in the chromosphere. Now they were about 10-ish, if you want to get the full thing, hours apart. So I'm going to kind of speed this up a little bit. Let's do 43 frames per second. So first eruption we have here letting go pretty slow, but you also have a two-component part of it. You see the main filament release, but we had some jets and some ejection here too. So you see a CME that kind of comes out, looks different. And then obviously it's this filament because look how much it's moving. Whee! And then you get most of the ejecta coming out to the south and then being deflected very strongly to the northeast. So it's like there's a big shield over here in the west keeping it from going in that direction. It was pretty cool. That's just the chromospheric imagery. So again, in running imagery, you can see it there. And then again, over here. And then as far as what that means for CMEs, it's still just as confusing because you have multiple parts coming out. I'm going to run this one a lot slower. I'm going to do 16 here. You've got the bottom part, even that's too fast. Geesh. So first CME, you get the beginning of it here, but you also get the second part that's snapped up. You get to see that more in C3 as a separate, it's very faint. I think you could see it in C2 if you zoomed in a bit more. But this one is primarily southeast with a possible component that will hit us. Less concerned about that one until then the second filament went off. And we're getting now more of a full one. This isn't quite a full halo. There's multiple parts ejecting here, 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 and even the top. Most, if not all of it, is front-sided, so it's just multiple components of this. So we'll likely get this one at least a little bit. It's a bit faster as well. Oh, we have modeling for that too, right? So I
Yeah.
will avoid the speeds in the time frame, but that's at least what the CME looks like in differential imaging, or one and then two, and then just seeing it one more time in standard regular light. I usually change the color to match, but
I'm glad
one
about that.
and two.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
see
no,
how
I don't like that
that.
they're different colors. So like sometimes instead it's just makes more sense to jump back to the blue and white.
Now they match.
Or both red. I mean, whichever. But as we all know, running difference imagery is far superior in trying to see things anyway. So
You can
one
Yeah, you can
and
definitely
two.
see how much faster that second one is.
Yeah, so we're only going to see probably one shock, if not very, very, very close two shocks together. I'd be surprised though. And that is all on my part.
Okay, we go back to the
You want
slideshow.
to take the slideshow?
Yay. I can take the slideshow. So we got two events to cover. One is the filament eruption that happened late on April 12th UTC time. It was a complex eruption. Again, several pieces of the same filament kind of went in different directions, but not a whole of it went toward us. Event number two was a bit more interesting because there was more flying toward us, but even that was a very complex eruption. And again, some of the filament eruptions are barely um, lifting the filament and gently letting it glide into solar wind, and some just tear them to shreds, and we end up with a halo signature that's very confusing because it's several parts, and all of it is actually part of the same eruption. There was nothing on the far side that was going on at the time, so we're pretty certain this is all front-sided. One confusing thing that I've seen mentioned on the face somewhere in Facebook, type 2 shock was not seen, type 2 radio burst was not seen. That's typically a feature of more energetic eruptions, so you may not see it with filaments. So it doesn't necessarily mean this is not a front-sided eruption. It just means type 2 was not observed. So you have to correlate the events with on the disk things. Is something erupting, and then how they show up in chronographs later. You
Yeah,
could
filament.
see it with filament, but most of the time they don't really drive shocks.
Yeah, they
So,
tend to be like the quiet ones that sneak in there. Yeah.
mhm.
And then
Yep.
you get like these good aurora shows out of them.
Let's hope for that. I
Yeah,
think there is some hope for that, but we'll see. So
yeah.
this is the thing one, and it was classified as partial halo. This is stereo A. Stereo A is kind of looking slightly from the side. It's not completely 90-degree view, so it's not looking straight um, from the side, but still getting a nice view. So there's nothing really going on the far side of the sun. Most of it is, again, heading sadly below Earth orbit, but we'll see. So it's possible Earth-directed component um, yet to be determined. The second one was probably a full halo, but it's composed of several parts. So it created that appearance that it could be several events. Fortunately, there was nothing going on the front side, on the Earth-facing side at the same time. There's nothing else erupting to add to that weird lobe of the halo. And you can see from the stereo A that, yeah, it's all just basically
Misshapen.
front-sided. Yeah, it's misshapen, but it's all front-sided. And a lot of it is going below Earth orbit, but there is some coming in our direction. So you kind of want things to spread above the ecliptic plane. So you want it to be more than 90-degree angle, and it's definitely making it. So I think some of it is coming, and I am not alone. So this is M2M modeling. This is for the first filament. It was a little bit on the slow side. ETA is estimated on late April 15th. So chances are it's going to be late April 15th into early April 16th. Impact to be determined. They got some nice storming levels, and we wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a watch posted fairly soon by SWIPSI. But again, storm watch is for the industry. Our forecast starts at L1. We won't know what type of storming we're going to see and what type of aurora we're going to see until that thing actually makes it to the space weather monitoring satellites. So remains to be determined. Thing two was faster. And the ETA is actually earlier. So if there is another CME in the way, there is a chance that it will be compressed. There's also a chance that the magnetic field of the first and second CME will interact from the sun all the way to Earth. And I don't think we have any models that can reliably predict how it's going to look like. So sometimes I know Christian is a fan of looking at the flux ropes of the filaments, and they're a little easier to tell compared to some of the eruptive events. But with this one, with the flux rope that literally got turned to shreds and rotated in all the different directions, which part is coming to us? Good luck. We're not going to find out until it actually is here. So we have to
Shrug.
wait.
Yeah, wait and see. Wait and see.
Wait and see.
Isn't
Again,
that the model
impact to be
always? Wait and
determined.
see.
Yeah. It, but this one's really interesting too, just because I've never seen one like, well, I mean, I haven't really been doing this all that long, but where it get ripped apart like that, where it's just in all sorts of
Like a
directions.
couple different strands. It looked like it unraveled some of it, and some of that unraveling went a different direction than the actual main arc of the filament. For the first one, at least, went. It was a pretty interesting eruption. There's also three distinct eruption points that I didn't get to go into necessarily, but the southern edge had two different strands, filament sides of it. or barbs, I'm going to call them, in different spots, and those spots erupted. So it was a cool looking one for sure. It wasn't a simple filament eruption. The second one was a little more, I guess, simple, but it also then was deflected pretty heavily. So,
Yeah,
uh,
with one piece of the filament being flung somewhere north, that was
it was
most
an
interesting
and
part.
flung is a probably almost an underestimating word or an underdramatic word at this point. I mean, here, okay,
Yeah.
we're at
Well, do
least
you want to
talking on
go
that
and
part.
yeah, well, if
Yeah,
you want to go to, I think Suvi actually had a better view than
of the actual
FBO.
flinging of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I can stop sharing, and if you want to pull the Helio viewer and actually
Oh,
show that eruption because it is really cool.
He took over. He's
yeah, I'm
taking
on it now.
he,
Except I've
he just
lost my spot.
commandeered it.
Differential imaging's hard to find your spot at.
Yeah,
Go. And it was the later one, so we'll go over here.
that's pretty neat. So let's see if
So we got the material being ejected here. So this little stripe, it's being thrown up. We've got then the material starts twirling, and I'll take this out of differential imagery too. A little harder to see, but starts twirling, and then it's just immediately, once it hits over here, flung upwards. And it's really fun to actually see that kind of deflection. It looks like it's just going to twirl off and go off the west limb, then whoosh all the way up to the north. I mean, again, it was slingshot, rapid. And then as far as the first one being broken up into different strands, you know, oh no, there we go.
where to go?
So it was this part here and this part here. They were two separate anchors and they released separately.
Wow.
So we had the main one and then we had this section just pull off. So it was kind of like a multi-filament eruption in one filament.
Yeah, that's what the
Yeah.
weird.
So cool.
Yeah, it's very cool, but it makes modeling very challenging, and
Oh, it looks
that's
like,
why
did
that's why
Noah put out a
I
G2?
know that's what I was looking at now because somebody put the G2 watch out.
we'll
And
check on that.
Met
yeah,
Office did, I know, right?
Yeah.
G2, I
yeah.
believe. So
Yep.
Because then I was like, I wouldn't. I wrote like I wouldn't be surprised if Space Swipsy goes with G3 just to be on the error on the side of caution. But
I could see that as well. No, they did go G2. That is
okay,
Noah.
Okay.
watch them update it.
For April 16th specifically. The 15th, there is none. So they are expecting an arrival after the 16th as well, UTC time.
Yeah.
So they went on a little bit slower too than the
Hmm.
other modeling. So
Which
yeah,
sounds right.
this will be a fun one to watch.
Could evolve in a fun way. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's very different and I don't think anybody really knows what to expect from it because of how shredded the stuff is that's coming at us. So it's going to be um a fun one to see when it finally gets here.
Yep. It literally went through the shredder. I can probably pull up the Met Office model too, so we can wrap up the modeling part of it.
Yeah,
If you
my
want to
Um,
check for Swipsies too, if I assume they've got modeling now, if they've got a watch out.
I, Mary Beth, if you want to pull up Swipsy model so
yeah,
you can share it afterwards, yeah, that's
yeah,
Okay.
I'll get the
so.
Swipsy.
This is Met Office, and they're kind of going with possible glancing blow for the first filament eruption,
Makes
and
sense.
for more Earth-directed second filament eruption, ETA is probably late April 15th, at least in their modeling. But you can see how spread out the arrival times are. So it is, um, if
So the
I
average
would
is
have to go
just
with
before.
median, it would be on the 16th actually. So green line's
Yeah.
the median for arrival time. So that's where they're placing it. They're going with possible G1, G2 storming up to G3. Again, this is industry warning, has nothing to do with Aurora. We'll see it when it gets here. Finally, we have Huxt, which is even more interesting because they modeled a couple of things slightly differently. So this is a mapping for the CME, and they have thing two, the second filament eruption, kind of broken into two separate events. And you can tell that, well, yeah, speed is, I think it's, yeah, speed is pretty close. And the timing when they actually do arrive at 21.5 solar radii. So that's a distance where you can basically disregard any type of interaction between CME and the sun. And when the CME actually gets supersonic, so super fast, it's accelerated and it's going to be just basically going on its merry way into space. Um, those two things are probably belong to the same CME, so they're not two separate CMEs. They're pieces of the same CME, of the same filament. We have high confidence in the arrival for the second one, low confidence in the arrival for the first one because of where it was and sort of how it was propagating. But again, arrival time probably very, very close. And I don't think there is really clear favoring for the second CME. It's probably somewhere in the middle, but we have a fairly widespread. So early 16th would not be out of possibility. Late 15 is also possible. Again, because they're so close together, there is really high chance that those CMEs will interact on the way, and how that's going to happen and what things will look like when they arrive here, when, if, um, we don't know. Difficult to predict. So
Yes.
I think that's about it for modeling.
Yeah,
So
'cause I looked on Space Weather Predictions, like they don't have the new one up on the website yet. It's still the old one.
Oh, interesting that they do their alerts first.
Yeah, because I unless I'm looking at the wrong thing, but I went to the
Let's
page,
see.
it's definitely the old one. So see if you can find it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Um, Runtime 413 mid. Oh no, this is ambient. You're
Yeah,
right. It's not uploaded yet.
that's the old
yeah, it's
one.
still
So I need to
ambient.
wait.
Okay, then yep, that's it for modeling.
Yeah, so anyway, so we have something on the way. Long story short, we have something on the way. So yeah. So for those with I haven't checked the weather, so that's gonna be the part two of this whole thing is I know everybody in the Great Lakes region is chomping at the bit to see aurora again, and I guess it's been super cloudy and you know how it normally is in the Great Lakes.
Suffering a wintry spring.
So so hopefully you'll have some clearer skies, you know, wherever you're at, and just keep an eye on that. And we'll keep an eye on what happens as this unfolds. So yeah, and like yeah, as long as we get some southward BZ out of it, which I'm sure we will at some point.
We got a
But
sheath.
yeah, but it's just gonna be what it's gonna arrive at, and it might not even be a super clean thing either. If it's all different. I don't know. This is a weird one. This will be a weird
And a full moon.
and
Forgot
a
that
full
part.
Yep,
moon.
So this is probably not going
still
to be a very big event,
Well, every
just
time he
based on
says
that.
that ends up doing something. So say it again. Say it again louder.
I love jinxing things, so I'm all for jinxing this part. Nothing's going to happen because every time I say it, that's what happens.
it's gonna be a miss for all two of them.
Yeah, both of them. That would be
They're
the
not even going to arrive.
For all the pieces of it, everything that was thrown in
yeah,
different
exactly.
directions, it's
All the rest is just up
just
here.
gonna miss Earth.
Like, oh my gosh. So I don't know. I might be tempted to chase it out here in Utah. We'll see. We shall
Yeah.
see. So
Well, you get enough of the warning when we start to
yeah,
see things at L1, depending on the speed, you have probably at least an hour to
yeah,
get to location because that's how long it takes to cook
Not
up a
that you
storm.
need that much when you're in Utah.
Exactly.
yeah. Well,
Exactly.
well, the problem I'm doing these 12-hour days here, so that's
Oh,
another
that's right.
like
Okay.
so I don't get out till 9, so it's got to be timing's got to be okay too. But so if it ends up being an all daytime thing, then oh well. But it is what it is. We'll wait for the next one.
We'll chase the data.
Yeah, chase the data. So I'm gonna scan the chit chat and see if there's anybody um anybody I
Fun
think
conversations, it looks like.
yeah, I think we got most of the questions out of the way. But anyway, this was kind of just a formal or informal little debriefing about what happened the last 24 hours because yeah, I've noticed it's starting to pick up in you know people tweeting and talking about it. So I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up in the news media. So so we'll see there because usually once Space Weather Prediction Center puts out any sort of G2 watch or whatever, you start seeing the media hype follow suit. So figure we give you
G5 hype.
yeah, figure we give you a heads up on it. You so you can start making some plans for 3, 4 days from now. But the other good thing about with the moon, now that we're going into the other side of the moon cycle is you have some time before it rises. So as long as the timing is good, you know, maybe we'll get something out of it. So that's for Janelle, because I know Janelle's been wanting to see Aurora and so hopefully she'll watch this and then don't have to message me about it. Hi, Janelle.
Since you'll be working 12-hour days anyway.
Yes, so I'll be working 12-hour days and won't be able to answer any questions. So hopefully this will suffice for that. It's like, hey, we'll see what happens on the 15th, 16th. So anyway, guys.
Yeah. Well, it gives us something to do next for the next stream too. We can do forensics.
Yes, we can. We
Which
can
means
We
nothing will
can.
happen, so we'll have nothing to
have nothing
apart.
to take apart.
Here's the solar wind data. It's empty. Bye.
Well, that will give us an opportunity to cover limitations of modeling.
Right. And the fact that we only have the Lasco view and one view from the side. And that's it. So that's all we have to work on. But anyway, thanks guys for being here. Hopefully you got something out of the forecast, and maybe we'll see something later this week. Maybe we won't. But yeah. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully at more of the regular time. We only had to do it early today because I have to meet up with coworkers in a little bit. So we wanted to make sure we get something out there. But for our Southern Hemisphere friends, we like to do these a little bit later. So anyway, you guys have a great night now and happy Aurora
Bye.
evening.
Good luck.
All right, let me see. And I always got to find the right button here. Where did it go?